Today I have got a hot topic for you, and I'm calling it God's Promises and Your Parenting. And today what I want to share with you are 4 principles that will give your children the very best opportunity to become fully developed followers of Christ. But before we get to those 4 steps, I want to know, if these steps don't work, does that mean God made a promise that He couldn't keep? Train up a child in the way that he should go, and if he departs from it for a little while, he will return. I've got 5 kids, age 13 to 25. And as of today, the only one who hasn't lost interest in the church is my 13-year-old. So either God made a promise that He couldn't keep, or somebody has misunderstood the Bible. Today I want to clear up some confusion on Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6, which teaches us that if we train up a child in the way that he should go, then if he departs from it, he will return. I'm sure I'm not the only parent who has raised children in the church only to have those children leave the church and never return. Every parent has struggles when it comes to raising children. And in the midst of those struggles, our children are going to make choices that we're not proud of, choices that hurt us, and choices that don't involve the church. And as those children grow, they can turn out to be very well-rounded adults with strong responsibility, strong morals, and strong ethics, yet have nothing to do with God. And it's not like they're living in rebellion, and it's not like they hate God. They just have interests other than God. Now, for a parent, that is heartbreaking. But it doesn't mean that we're a failure, and it doesn't mean that we have failed. It just means that our children have come to a point where they're able to make their own decisions about their own life, and we have got to be okay with that as parents. And I don't think that we ought to blame God for the decisions that our children are making. In other words, I think that what we need to do is to get back into the Bible and see what the Bible actually says. Because Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6 does not say, train up a child in the way that he should go, and if he departs from it, he will return. What the text says is that we should train up a child in the way that he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. I think what we have here is a misunderstanding of what the Bible teaches. We've taken the words won't depart and added in will return. Now here's the thing about Proverbs. Proverbs are not promises. Promises are absolutes. Proverbs are things that generally happen, truths that happen most of the time, but not every time. In other words, when it comes to Proverbs, exceptions have to be made because people have free will. As for this child rearing, to take that text to teach that if I just raise my child right, they're always going to make the right decision, that takes away their free will, and it takes away their opportunity to make choices for themselves. So as we look at this proverb, I think that what we can say in general is that children raised in a godly home follow that training, but it's not guaranteed that they'll always follow the Lord. So when we look at the text, it says to train up a child in the way that he should go. And in the context of raising children, it means to set them in the right direction. And I think that what the proverb teaches is that the training that we instill in our children will follow them into their adult life. Let me give you an example of my kids. Remember, I said I have 5 kids, and 4 of them have lost interest in the church. 1 has returned, but there's still 3 that are out there making choices that are not always pleasing to their parents. But here's the deal. We've instilled in them a lot of values, and they have values, they have responsibility, they have a strong work ethic, they're good with their money. There's a lot of good qualities about my kids, a lot of good qualities that we've instilled in them that are following them into their adult life. But one of those things that is not following them into their adult life is a strong love for the Lord. It's not that they're against God, and it's not that they're against the church. They just have different interests right now. And as a parent, I've got to be okay with that. I can't be mad at God because God didn't make a promise. The writers of Proverbs made a statement that is generally true, but it's not true all the time for all people. It doesn't mean that we as parents have failed or are a failure. We have to remember that failure is a fact of life and doesn't have to be a way of life. This little thing is pecking my toes. Get him out of here. That's one of my kids' projects. We got 4 chickens. She loves animals, and so this is what she's doing with her time. That's responsibility. We've taught her about passion, and she's living out her passion. I'm not a failure as a parent. There's a cat chasing the chicken. It's going to get beat up. All right, so let's get back into this. Back to the coop. All right, so 4 principles now I want to share with you. 4 principles that are no guarantees, but these are things that we want to incorporate into our family life. 4 things that will give your children the best opportunity to become fully developing followers of Christ. Number 1, if you want your kids to follow Christ, you have to follow Christ. The best way to encourage your children to follow Jesus is for you to follow Jesus. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, but it does mean that you seek to put Christ first in everything. Number 2, pray for your children daily. Someone once said that to live without family prayer is to live without Christ as the head of your home. Number 3, involve your family in church weekly. This is one of my biggest frustrations. The hypocrisy in this area is so frustrating to me. You have parents that are concerned about the spiritual condition of their children, but then they don't make church a priority. No Sunday school, no youth group, no small group, no Bible study, nothing. It's no wonder they have family problems. They've said that Christ is the hub or the center of their family, yet Christ isn't any part of their family. I tell you, a parent who can be so disciplined to make sure that their child is at every practice, on time, every time, but yet not have them in church or in Sunday school or in a youth group frustrates this guy to no end. Sorry about that. It's just something that I don't understand. Listen to this. 63% of children make the decision for Christ between the ages of 4 and 14. Another 34% make the decision for Christ between the ages of 15 and 29. So in case you're not good at math, that is 97%. 97% of Christians made that decision before the age of 30. D.L. Moody once said that if I could live my life all over again, I would invest my time and my energy into the children of the church. D.L. Moody genuinely understood the importance of reaching our children for Christ. And since the childhood and early teen years are so crucial, we have got to make this a priority in the home. We've also got to make it a priority in the church. Principle number 4, surrender your family to the Lord. Joshua 24:15, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Hey, this has been Jeremy Skinner, and I just brought you 10 minutes of accurate biblical truth regarding God's promises and your parenting. And if you found this channel to be helpful in helping you to grow spiritually, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button. I also want you to share this with other parents who need to hear it. Young parents need to hear this teaching so that they can get started off on the right foot with their kids. We have got to win the world for Christ, and it's going to begin with our children in the home. Thank you, and God bless.